All right, we are now recording. So here I have my friend Tam Garcia with me.
What's up?
And he just drove up here from, I don't want to tell everybody where he lives because then you'll stalk him and kill him in his house, so I'm not going to say that.
That took a turn real quick.
He just drove up here. He is a musician. He is a songwriter, a singer, and a guitar player. Any other instruments you play or just?
Nothing that I can say on TV. Yeah, that's pretty much like my focus. Like I dabble and just make noise, but that's really it.
And you are also a father and a husband.
Husband and soon to be father.
Oh, yeah. Soon to be father.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's not here yet. He's not done cooking.
So I have a couple questions for you to break the ice, and they're not related to music or anything like that. I've been playing around with that lately on this podcast.
Perfect.
Kind of breaking the ice with weird, unrelated questions that are interesting to get to know you as a person, because I don't act like I know you from Instagram, and I've seen you playing at Clichés cafe. I've seen you singing and performing, and I'm so excited to listen to you perform again because you have an amazing voice, and you guys are all going to see, like, literally the first time I heard you perform, I was going into Cheech's to get a coffee and just be out of there, and I had to sit and listen because it was like, oh, the clouds parted and the lights were shining and this godly noise came out of you, and I was mesmerized. You have a great stage performance, so I'm really excited to get into that.
Cool, thank you.
Yeah, but before we get into that, let me start with a few questions.
Sure.
So my first question for you is, now this is a pretty intense, not a kind of intense question. What is a character flaw that you have that you need to work on?
Oh, man, just one?
It could be a few, or it could be one that you've been thinking about lately.
It's wild. Like, having a kid is like, I was talking to a friend of mine about it, and it's like a lot of things just like now, like being a dad or on the way to being a dad, it's like,
yeah,
putting things in like a lot of like perspective is like kind of like a weird thing, but like I definitely want to be like more honest, like more, I guess like more with like myself and just like more direct, because like I have a tendency of just like kind of just like yesing everything and like, all right, whatever, and just kind of letting it roll. And yeah, I think that
like you're maybe
I gotta say no more often.
You're like not to make assumptions, but from what you're saying, you're maybe more of like the people pleaser type, is what you're saying?
Yeah, definitely. That's just trying to make everybody happy and like kind of like at my expense.
I used to be like that a lot when I was younger. And then I kind of like shifted in the opposite other direction, and I became like too blunt, like with people. So I'm trying to like balance it out. I think like, so be careful not to let that happen to you, because that happened to me too. Like when I kind of decided like, I'm not going to take shit anymore, I kind of like became aggressively like no to people. So now I'm like, okay, I'm trying to like find the middle ground, but I totally can relate to that because I used to be so much like that.
Yeah, I mean, like there's really no reason to like freak out. It's just like, you want sugar in your coffee? No, I don't want sugar in my coffee. What's wrong with you? You can dial it back a little bit.
Yeah, like there's been times in more recent years, like the past couple years or so, where when I felt like someone was trying to tell me what to do, it was like years of pent up saying yes to everybody, like came out like, you can't control me. Like, and I'm just like, people are like, whoa, like relax. So I definitely like have to figure that would be a character flaw I have to work on, is like, again, finding that balance between that.
Sometimes you just gotta Hulk out though, you gotta
Hulk out.
you gotta ping pong. You go from one side to the other, and then just like, all right, cool. So now I get to live in like this middle area.
Yeah.
So.
Speaking of Hulk out, that was another question I have for you for later, because I saw you were like training for something, and I want to touch on health and fitness on this podcast. So I'm going to ask you questions about that, but later when we get to it.
Cool.
So my next question for you is, okay, so speaking of not hulking out, if you were on a diet, like, and you were trying to get in shape, what would be the one food that like you couldn't control yourself around? Like your food that you're like, I don't care what diet I'm on, I can't control it.
Oh man.
Like your gluttonous food.
Oh, my gluttonous food. Right now, like I'm big on gummy bears.
Oh wow.
But we can talk about that like health wise, because I've figured out, and I've read a bunch of stuff where it's justifying my craving for gummy bears.
Yeah.
But I guess I was never like really big on like junk food, but like especially like right now, this time of year, like Halloween coming around the corner, the bite-sized Snickers are the perfect size Snickers.
Yeah.
And there is no willpower.
No willpower.
I will sit there and I'll eat a whole bag. It's like, this is supposed to be for the kids. What kid? I was like shoving them in my face. So yeah, bite-sized Snickers, because they're the perfect size Snickers.
All right, so you're definitely like a candy person?
No, I'm not. Just that particular candy. Like that's kind of like it.
So what about the gummy bears that you said that are health, that you can justify them for health purposes?
Because they're what's it like? It's like a good. They got like it's. I forget what the actual like the chemical name for it, but like the carbohydrates that are in it, it's actually like good sugar. So like after like an intense workout, if you just down like I'm not saying like down like a pound of gummy bears, but like a handful, like or like a full serving. It's a good rush to like just get the sugars like right to your muscles, and it helps with recovery a lot faster.
That's so interesting because one of my relatives, like my stepbrother's wife, when she was pregnant, her big craving was gummy bears. And I always find like, you know, now that you're have a baby in the making, I'm sure your wife is having some cravings and stuff like that. Like my theory about those cravings is that I don't know. This is just like my little theory. I think the woman's body when she's pregnant craves things that maybe her body is lacking to support, you know, the baby. That's what I think. I mean, it could be nonsense, but
you know, like I'm never gonna have a kid personally, so I really can't speak too much to it. Like I know what like I'll read stuff, but like they say like there's like a chart, just like you know if you're craving like sweets or salty stuff, you're actually lacking in like this whatever vitamin or stuff like that.
Yeah, it just makes sense to me. It's like the body wants to raise this baby and take care of this baby, so it makes sense. But that just kind of like I pieced together with the gummy bears because I'm like, oh, maybe there was a reason why she was craving those gummy bears. She needed that like good sugar to repair her muscles or whatever.
Maybe.
Yeah. So my next question for you is, I like this question. So what was an awkward social interaction that has stuck with you? Like it could be recently or from when you were a kid or something, like a very awkward social interaction you had that you still remember and you can't like stop feeling embarrassed about.
Well, like recently I had like my first non-ironic finger guns moment. And I don't know if that's just like my like slow metamorphosis into like being a dad. It's just like happening, and that was like a genuine thing that happened to me at work. But like I'm going in, I'm leaving work, and they have like this electronic gate that's like going through, and there's this guy in front of me, like he's just like standing there like with a backpack, just like walking, waiting for the gate to go.
Yeah. And
he's like, "No, you go ahead." And we're doing that thing, like, "No, you go." And then it's like we just go, and he's like, "Really, just go ahead." So I do like. And I did that, and then I drove, and I got like 10 feet, and I got out of the gate, and I stopped the car, and I'm like, holy shit, like, I actually really did that. Like, that was, like, I wasn't even being a jerk about it. Like, I was like, okay. So, like, I had to call, like, a buddy of mine. I was like, dude, like, what happened? He's like, oh, no, it gets better. Just you wait. So I had that, and then there's a whole bunch of, I'm like an awkward person anyway, and, like, I will... Like a lot of times, like I like to do things just for the goof, and like you know, it's the only thing funnier than a joke working is a joke not working at all. So there's like that weird, uncomfortable. Everybody's like, what do we do? I'm
definitely like the type of person that when an awkward thing happens, like socially, I could think about it for years, and like if I get myself back in the back in the thought of it, I'm like reliving the feelings of the awkwardness, which is why I wanted to ask the question, because I'm like, am I the only one who gets this way?
Oh yeah, no. What's gonna happen is we're gonna be done here, and I'm gonna be in the car, and I'm gonna think about it the entire way home, and I'm gonna be like, oh man, I could have told this story, and it'll be like 3 o'clock in the morning. I'll wake up in the middle of sleep, you know, like, all right, nope, could have talked about that, and now, so that's cool. It's gonna be a lot of stuff surging forward. So thank you.
That's like always the case with anything. Like if anytime I've ever gotten into like an argument with someone, or if I've been talking to somebody, I always like think like, man, I could have said that point, and it's always like after the fact that you think of like the good stuff, and like in the moment you get like caught up. I know exactly what you mean.
It's like I got nothing, and then it's like you're totally kicking ass.
Yeah.
And the screenplay going on
in your
brain.
head. Yeah, I guess that's why it's good to just like get out and do things, because I think like the more you practice them, and this is only my 5th podcast, so even myself, I'm like trying to get better, and I've noticed an improvement within each podcast. That like my first podcast was pretty good because I feel like the person I interviewed was like very social, so I felt like he was doing the work kind of for me. But my second was a little more shy, so I felt like it was like, oh my God, I'm on, you know, like I have a lot of pressure to do this. But yeah, we practice these things and get better at them. So my last question, unrelated to music, and I have some like music type questions later. Mm-hmm. So I asked this to my last guest as well. So have you ever heard of something called the 5 love languages? Have you heard of that?
I've heard.
Or is that only a chick thing? Like,
no. Like I've heard like the phrase like love language like being used, and like I kind of get it, but like I didn't know that there was 5 of them. So,
so I'll explain it to you. So this author Gary Chapman, he wrote a book called The 5 Love Languages, and the idea behind it was that everybody perceives love differently. So if there's miscommunications in your marriage or your relationship, it's because you and your partner might have a different way of representing love. So these are the ones that he pointed out. I think there could even be more, but these are like the 5 that he said. Gift giving, acts of service, touch, quality time, and words of affirmation. So out of these 5, which one resonates with you?
Can you repeat them? No.
I'll repeat them because I did it last time too. Gift giving, acts of service.
Mm-hmm.
So like if someone does something nice for you, like, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Touch, like cuddling and stuff like that. Quality time, that's mine. Mine's quality time. It's like having a good conversation, like, which is why I like podcasting. And then words of affirmation, like somebody saying like, you did a good job, like, you know, kind of that type of thing.
I guess it's like a toss-up between touch and acts of service. You know, maybe I'm interpreting the acts of service thing, but like I really like I'm big on, I don't know, just helping out. Like
I feel like an act of service like would be like, for example, in my relationships, it might be like if my boyfriend is coming home if he's like in between jobs and he doesn't have much time to eat, like me taking care of him and cooking for him, like, because I care about his well-being and then doing him a favor in that way. I feel like that would be acts of service. Would you say that resonates with you when people like kind of take care of you and do things for you?
Well, yeah, I mean, like that resonates, but I think if we're gonna like go with that, then definitely like touch. Like for me, it's like big. Like I'm a hugger. And you know, piss off my wife to like no end. Like I'm just constantly like poking her. You know, it's just like, I don't know. Maybe it's just like a big brother syndrome or whatever. But like, you know,
you have younger brothers?
I have a sister. I have a younger sister, and you know, it's just, I don't know. I've always just like playful teasing and just like that. You know, it's like, I don't know.
What would you say your wife's not active service or her love language? What's her love language? If you were to guess, hopefully, if she listens to this, hopefully you don't get in trouble if you say it wrong.
No, I definitely think that hers is like quality time. Like that's like super important for her.
I wonder if that's a woman thing because we're always like, we need time with our men. Like I'm wondering if that's a feminine like or a female thing. You know?
I think it's just like it's like an everybody thing. I just think women are just like more upfront and open about it because it's just like acceptable. And like I think that's like, I mean, it's awesome, but like, you know, I think like dudes can just like, it's like, you know, I want to spend time, you know, and it's like, and now like again, like I feel like everything that I'm going to talk about is like kind of like go back to like fatherhood, impending fatherhood. It's just like, you know, would I rather go out and do this or do I want to be home with my family, you know? And like I think like more and more. Like I'm starting to understand that aspect because like I'm always just I'm not a house cat at all, but like I
actually, when we get to the music questions about you and your music pursuits and music career, I actually have a question about that later about fatherhood and being a musician and balancing it. But we'll get to that one later. Well, let's just get to it now because it kind of blends in. So my question for you is because this has been something that's actually been on my mind a lot lately. I'm 32. I'm going to be honest with everybody. I'm 32 years old. I am a musician and I'm a very ambitious person. Like I'm doing this podcast. I do stand-up comedy and I guess I'm like a career woman, if you want to say that. And I'm really like worried about if I do want to have a family, is it going to be possible for me to do it? So my question for you is like, I'm inspired by you because you're a very talented musician and I see you performing. How do you, I mean, you're not a father yet technically, but in the pursuit of, you know, becoming a father, how do you balance that? Or you already have a wife. So how do you balance out family life with career and with being a musician?
You know, it's the scientific method, you know, like I just constantly just living and like finding what works, what doesn't work. And I'm still figuring that out. Like I don't think there's a right answer to it. I know that I've probably made some mistakes, you know, just like I could have done, you know, like that's weird. And this is, in, you know, hindsight's always 2020. So it's like, okay, wow, like I really shouldn't have made a big deal about this thing as opposed to spending time with my family that I probably wasn't going to get back. Cause like, you know, like you do these gigs, it's like, oh yeah, it's going to be awesome. And then you get there and it's like, this is kind of less than awesome.
Yeah.
You know, and like you make it what you make it, but it's a lot of compromise. It really is on everybody, everybody, you know, my family, my wife, you know, it's the, you know, there's some things that you miss. And I try really hard not to, you know, family's like really, really important to me. So like, I really you know, if I have something going on like with family, like I have no problem, especially now. It's just so much easier. It's just like, oh, we got this gig coming up. I'm like, I can't, I got my family. Like,
Yeah,
so
that's something that I'm like trying to figure out, and like even try to figure out where's my future going. Like, can I have like, because I feel like for the female to be the one doing the career stuff, it's a difficult position to be in, because it would be like, well, if I didn't want a family, I'd be the one carrying the kids. So it's like, how do I do that? You know what I mean? I would literally have to find like a husband who's like a stay-at-home dad, or I'd have to just give up my career. Like, I feel like, you know what I mean?
I don't know. Like, I mean, like it's no secret that like women, you know, women kind of just get like the short end of the stick in that, like where it's, but like you guys can handle it. So no, it's, and I'm not being sarcastic at all. Like it's unbelievable. Like the social pressures and everything that goes along with just being a woman, which is crazy.
Yeah.
And like I can't speak to it because I'm a dude, so like whatever. But it's you find a way to make it work, you know. If it's important to you,
You like figure it out.
Yeah,
It
you
all
just-
works itself out in some kind of way.
yeah.
Yeah, there's this woman that in college, because I went to college for music. There was this one woman. It was like Woman Composer Day, and she's like, she impressed me. I'm like, everything that I just said, I'm just like, I'm the biggest pussy, because she does it all. She's a classical pianist, a composer, and I mean like straight up like the full, like all the instruments. And yeah, she does like classical concerts, has a bit, like she had a baby. Her daughter's now like 19 or something years old, and she was a single mother. Like, I don't think she had anybody to help her. And just like, how could I complain? Like, she was a single mother and then a composer. Like, how did she do it? Like, it's just insane. It's amazing, you know? So like you said, it seems like if you really want both, like you're going to find a way to do both, you know?
Yeah, and yeah, that's that, you know, like, and then, you know, throw like day jobs and stuff on top of it too. But like, yeah, it really just kind of comes back to like, everybody knows what they're willing to sacrifice. So like, if you know, if you really want to pursue whatever it is that you're pursuing, you're going to lose some sleep, or you're going to work through lunch, or you're going to do whatever. Because I mean, I remember when a couple of years ago, my band had just broken up, and I had a theater group had actually reached out to me, and they were just like, hey, we think you'd be perfect for this part. And I hadn't like really any stage, like not since high school, you know, theater experience. So it's like, all right, this is totally out of my wheelhouse right now. So, you know, and I'm running through lines during coffee break, and, you know, just reading the script over through my lunch, and like going over choreography and music. And then, you know, guys would walk in the trailer and just like, what the hell are you doing? And I'm like, don't worry, man, I'm just a weird dude that works in the trailer here. Just go about your business. You know, don't worry, paperwork is going to be going through. Everybody's getting paid on Friday. Don't worry about it.
I always wonder, like, when I see YouTubers, like on YouTube, obviously, that are like doing their vlogs like out in public. I'm like, man, I would be so like shy or embarrassed to do that. Like, I don't know how they do it, but I've seen it. Like, one time I went to Disney World and I saw this, like, well, actually a lot of people. There's like a lot of people running around Disney like with their vlogging camera, and I'm just like, man, like they just have the guts to just do it like everywhere. I feel like I'd be so self-conscious. Like, are they listening to me? Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I think you know, just like there's like a, I don't know. I think it's just like, just kind of embracing the fact, just like, you know what, I'm not cool, like, you know, and like just really just willing to be weird, and just letting it, you know, let your freak flag fly or whatever.
Freak flag. That's like a, what do you call it? Tongue twister.
So, but you know, I think, you know, there's always like that kind of pressure. It's like, oh, I got to be cool. I got to be this. It's just like, all right, I'm just gonna do this, and like it is what it is, and let the chips fall where they may.
Yeah.
And I, you know, I tip my hat to people that can do that, because that is really friggin' hard.
Yeah. You just, that inspired me, what you said a lot. There's been a lot of inspiring things that I meant to tell you this in the beginning when I introduced you, but I forgot to. You post very inspiring quotes sometimes on your stories that I've actually like changed my life, and I'm not even kidding. Like, okay, I'm trying to remember two of them. One that changed my life was, you said a quote, and I don't know who, I don't think you wrote the quote, but I think you're quoting other people. One you said was that, if you don't like where you are in life, like, why are you chilling? Do you remember posting that? You probably don't even remember it.
I think so, but like, you know, that's definitely like on my wave, like stuff like that. It's just like, all right, like I'm on board for it. You know, like things like that. But and it's because it's true. It's just like, you know, like if you don't like what's going on, fix it. You know,
Yeah,
like,
that's what, like, I remember kind of being in a dark place where I was like, I'm not happy, or like, I'm not good enough at this and this and that. And then I saw that and I was just like, oh shit. Like, it just kind of pointed out that you have control and you can fix a lot of your own problems, like, rather than complaining about them. You know what I mean? So kudos to you for inspiring me. And
well,
yeah.
I'm glad I'm glad my my repost
Your repost.
was helpful. You know, and that's a cool thing I think of, like, with social media is like, all right, cool. It's like, you know, granted, like, people are figuring out your algorithm, so we're going to feed this stuff to you, but like stuff like that, like, it's, you know, it's, I post it like a lot of times, like, I don't do it for anything else. It's like, oh, I'm just like kind of reminding myself. It's like, all right, you know, like, quit crying about it and do something about it. Cause you know, like, if you're just going to point out problems and not offer any kind of solution, just shut up. Like, we know.
It's like some people, and you know, myself in the past included, like, some people just kind of want to hear their own sob story and not want to get themselves out of situation and like kind of play the victim in certain situations. And I'm not saying, like, speaking of character flaws, I've been guilty of that too. Like, I've been guilty of kind of being like, why does this always happen to me? And like, you know, not taking the initiative to change things or make things better. Now, you said something else that was a really good point. In that you said that the algorithm is kind of telling you what to say. That is so true. Like, I noticed if I look something up, it's like all of a sudden the algorithm, like, now everything in my like, I have to be careful what I watch. Like, one time I watched a documentary on like a serial killer, just like out of curiosity, and then all of a sudden my entire feed was like serial killers and like all kinds of situations. And the problem is, what happens is that you actually end up clicking on them, and then before you know it, like, your whole life is like serial killers on a Sunday. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, it's like you go down like a weird rabbit hole. Like, I mean, it's good and it's bad. Like, I don't mind that so much because, like, sometimes you get like cool stuff, and I've had, you know, some cool things like pop in my ones and zero life, I guess.
Ones and zero life.
You know, and you know, it's worked out, but like it freaks me out just like when you think about something and you didn't even talk about it and it's just there. I'm like, that's weird. All right, big brother, like, what's going on? But you know, and it is what it is. You know, it's, you know, I sit there and I can complain about it as I have my Apple Watch and Apple phone and I'm working on my, you know, MacBook and all this stuff. So it's like,
have you ever had Siri like talk to you like when you didn't command it? That's happened to me once or twice, and it really creeps me out.
Oh, all the time. You know, it's just like it'll just pop on, or the same thing with, she's not around. You don't have an Alexa, do you, or anything? Because she'll just like, I didn't catch that. No one was talking to you, so I don't know what you're listening about. But that's like wild too, because it's constantly listening for you, waiting for it to just say like Alexa, and like that's like weird.
One time I was like, this is going to make me sound terrible, but I was joking with my boyfriend at the time. I was like just jokingly, I was like, oh, I'm going to kick the shit out of you. And then all of a sudden, Siri, she goes, whoosh. She actually made that sound effect. And I was like, oh my God, like, did I say Siri by accident, or did it sound like Siri? Like, I'm going to kick this shit. It doesn't sound like Siri to me. And it just like every now and then little things like that will happen where she'll just like listen or like laugh at a joke. Like, it's really creepy. Like, it's so creepy. It's insane.
It just wants to let you know that, you know, somebody's listening.
Yeah.
So that's, you know, it's weird. It's really weird, but
yeah.
All right.
By the way, I feel really bad for people that were actually named Alexa before Alexa came out. Like, I was thinking about that the other day because I ran into an old friend, like, I used to work in the restaurant business, and like I went to a restaurant. I guess she's still working there, and her name's Alexa, and I'm like, oh my God, like you were named this before Alexa was a big deal. Like, I feel so bad for you. Like, this is probably detrimental to your mental health. Like, to everybody to be Alexa.
Yeah, you like you walk in and it's just like, Alexa, shut up, and it's like, what? Oh, not you. I'm sorry. Just like free floating hostility, just like kind of like all over the place.
I mean, I guess it'd be kind of like if your name was like John, like, and you had like a name that everybody had or something like that. No offense to all the Johns out there, but
it's all right. Actually, I was just watching. Was it Robin Hood Men in Tights? Yeah. The other day, and there's the throwaway line. It's like, from here on out, all the toilets in the kingdom will be known as John's. Sorry again, John's. But like, you know, at some point that was a choice. That, you know, and everybody was like, all right, yeah, no, they're John's now. Like, okay.
You probably don't get that many Tams, right? Like, you're probably one of the only.
No. I'm the only Tam that I've ever come across. But funny thing, I was just talking about that earlier. Like, I got invited to be a part of this I guess it's like women entrepreneurs and like women in business, and like they reached out and just like, oh, like would you be willing to be a part of this? And I'm thinking, yeah, like that's cool. Like I'll just play some songs,
Yeah.
and that's always like my go-to. And it was not that. I think they just thought that I was like a woman entrepreneur, but like it's because I would get that
'cause your
growing
name's Tam.
because my name was Tam, and growing up, like when I was a kid, and like my mom can attest to it, like every year, like on like clockwork, I would be invited to the Miss Teen USA competition. It's like, so you can compete. I'm like, I should just submit it and just fill it out, and just go for it. But
I mean, you did have nice long hair that you recently just cut off. Why? So it looks great, but why did you choose to cut off your hair?
Well, I started growing it out because I had like a construction job, and I was like, it's just easier if I just don't get my hair cut. Because everybody at the time, because I was like out and about, like traveling the country for a little bit, like the Northeast, and it was like where I ended up for a while was like everybody had a mullet or a rat tail. I'm like, let me not get my hair cut here. So I just kind of just let it go. And then I just grow it out, and then I donate it to nonprofit organizations.
So it's like a cycle you go through?
Yeah. So I've donated like 4 times. Like this past, like a week, maybe 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
We donated 22. It was like 22 inches long and like 6 ponytails worth of it to Wigs for Kids. Wigs for Kids with with a Z. It's all nonprofit, and they make wigs for families and kids that either have like alopecia or going through chemotherapy, and they don't charge the families for the wigs that they make. And I thought that was like super cool because like I donated the first time I donated. The organization, I found out after the fact, actually charged the families for the wigs.
Yeah.
So I was like, that's not cool. So
I didn't even think of that. When I got a pixie cut, I should have donated my hair because my hair was like not extremely long, but it was like maybe here. I feel like that probably would have been long enough if I was doing a pixie. But damn, I didn't even think of that. That's pretty cool though.
Yeah, it's any way you can help out. That's kind of like I figure like it's all this hair is just going to be on the floor.
Exactly. That's what happened to me. I looked at my hair. I was like, oh my God, it's all over the floor. It was crazy.
Yeah.
I don't think I could ever cut my hair again though. Like, so I probably won't do the process thing because what they don't tell, short hair is very nice when you get it cut, but what they don't tell you when you get it cut for the first time as a lady is that you're going to have to get it cut all the time.
Yeah,
so
maintenance is a pain in the ass.
Yeah. So it's like I have this like cute fresh haircut for like a week, and then my hair grows pretty fast. So it's like a few weeks later, it's crazy.
Yeah, I have the same problem. It's just like, oh crap, I got to learn how to use product again.
Yeah.
And then like I catch myself like doing like long hair things, and it's like I don't have hair to do that. So I'm like, I'll do this. Like, what? Do you have like a twitch? Like, no, I'm just moving my hair that doesn't exist anymore out of my face.
I actually had a neck twitch for like a short time of my life because I've had like a lot of anxiety in the past, and they kind of went every now and then they happened, but like when I was like in my mid 20s, it feels weird to say that because I'm 32, like in my mid 20s, I would get like anxiety twitches, and I had like a neck twitch, and people would be like, what's wrong with you? Like, are you a cokehead? I'm like, no, I just like have this weird twitch, but it kind of just went away.
No, I'm just anxious and freaked out on my own. I don't need that.
I think it's like when I would get it, I think it would be like if I was in a setting like in school or something where I just like had to sit there, it would be like all my energy like festering up and like wanting to do something. So.
I guess I mean I have something similar. Like I just kind of joke about it. I don't know what it is, but I just call it a short circuit, and like I legit just go like bleh, like that's it, and that's the sound that happens. My wife will verify that. She's like, okay.
Like what the heck are you doing?
Yeah, it's like what's that? It's like I just short it out.
I feel like I get weird things like that where I just get like a chill or something, and I just like
random jolts. Who knows what it is? I'm not worried about it.
So I would like to get to, now that I've gotten through all the icebreaker questions and one of the music questions, I would like to now have you do your performance. That would be awesome.
Sure.
So we're just going to set up and we'll be right back.
Cool. Yeah, so I guess like the song, it's never really had like a set title. So at first it was like a song for my nephew, and then it was a song for my niece, and then a song for my other niece, and now it's like kind of just like moving and rolling along the lines of like just going down for all like the kids in the family, and like now my own, which is I don't know who cleared that with HR, but I guess it's like I used to call it like buffet of cliches because it was like just like I felt like it was like having a conversation with like a younger me kind of thing, and I think it just kind of turned out that way, and then the song is what it is. But so this song has no name.
The song is what it is.
Yeah, the song is what it is. I don't know. The title changes. One day it'll stick, but anyway. We may never be lovelier or better than we are now, and we may never get the chance to be here ever again. So you'd better take advantage of every single chance you get, because seat belts, they're for cars and for planes, not for life. Some things just cannot be contained. So hit the gas and let go of the wheel and embrace the rush, because now is all that's real. You know, you may never see the same sunrise, you may never feel the same love twice, but you'll never know until you try, so just try. You may never see the same sunrise, never feel the same love twice, but you'll never know until you try, so just try. But now fear says that the fall might kill me, and hope said lies. 'Cause courage said, oh courage said that I can fly. Oh, you know, fear said that the fall might kill me, and hope said lies. Oh, because courage said, you know, courage said that I can fly. So I'm gonna fly, alright. I'm gonna fly. You may never see the same sunrise, never know the same love twice, but you'll never know until you try, so just try. You may never see the same sunrise, never know the same love twice, but you'll never know until you try, so just try. Because fear said the fall might kill me, and hope said lies. And courage said, you know, courage said that I can fly. Oh, fear said that the fall might kill me, and hope said lies. Because courage said, well, courage said that I can fly. So I'm gonna fly, alright. I'm gonna fly. I go ba-da-da-da-da-da-da, ba-da-ba-da-da-da-da, ba-da-ba-da-da-da-da, ra-ba-da-ba-da, ba-da-ba-da-da-da-da, 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 ra-ba-da-ba-da, ba-da-da, ba-da-da.
Okay, I have to set up normal again. The annoying thing about this weird setup is that I always have to like take a break, but I'm like really excited and want to talk about how good the music is. So hold on, I'll be right there.
Just get like elevator music, and just like you can actually just like keep that, like
Yeah.
keep the video for this, and just like play like boop, boop, boop.
I should do that.